Hey, I'm real excited to have on the Marr Army Rock Show tonight Danny Vaughn, who I know our listeners will know as the lead singer of Tyketto, and many of you will remember as the lead singer of Wasted as well. Danny, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Very, very glad to be on it, man. It's been a while since I've been in your neck of the woods.
Well, yeah, and you're a well-traveled guy, so there's a couple things I want to ask you about here, and the first is your newer music. I want to talk a little bit about Dig In Deep, because I'm really loving that album. Can you let folks know a little bit about the history of that album, where it was produced, and just the story behind it?
Yeah, it's got a bit of a story, does that one. Tyketto has been approached over the years since, the last album we all did together was Strength in Numbers, and that was released in 1994. And over that period, different people will come to us at different times, offering a little bit of money or whatever, saying, we'd love to get a new Tyketto album. But, for whatever reason, always done things this way. We've always done things where they feel I've never made any money. I don't know, but we just kind of it never felt right until I guess around 2010 we all started talking about it again, and suddenly realized that everyone seemed to be in the right frame of mind to get together and see if we could still make a little magic with all of us together. So we didn't tell anybody, and Michael and I went out to Las Vegas, where Brooke was living at the time, and we just started kicking around some ideas, just acoustic guitars and little digital recorders, and just to see what was going on. And we came away from a 4 or 5 day session together with, I'd say 5 songs that we later just looked at and said, yeah, this could really be something, given the effort. So from that point on, we knew we wanted to do it, and that's when we started letting people know. It took a little time. We did one song that was debuted at Download, which we played in 2010, which is the Castle Donington Festival, which is huge. The year we played it, AC/DC was headlining. There was something like 90,000 people there, and we debuted Love to Love as kind of a precursor on the radio station out there at Download, and the reaction was great. People were writing in saying, either they wanted to know what it was if they've never heard of Tyketto, or were just jumping up and down that there was something new. So that gave us the impetus to go ahead and do what we did, and we recorded it in Millbrook, New York, a year later over snowstorms and other sorts of disasters, and put it out, I can't remember if it was the end of 2011 or 2012 now, but that's my memory for you.
Now, so I had a question about that album. It's a really cool album, and you mentioned the song Love to Love, and I just kind of chuckled because that song is so positive and happy, and then it's followed on the album by Here's Hoping It Hurts. What was the thought process of those two differences?
My favorite thing about Here's Hoping It Hurts is that there's a short list of people that all think that song's about them. So that was just over the years, particularly in my solo albums, I tend to turn 180 degrees from what is politically correct sometimes. I mean, I'm not radical, but I write songs that aren't about love. I write songs about people who are pissed off, and Here's Hoping It Hurts is to me, it was just like, yeah, doesn't everybody feel like that? And sometimes you've had a breakup in a relationship, and you see them 6 months later, you don't say to yourself, well, gosh, they're looking really good, I'm glad for them. You're hoping they don't look so good. You're hoping their new relationship is making them look worse than when you left them,
So you're a busy guy, man, and staying busy. But the one thing I'm super excited about you being busy with is March 29th to April 4th. Tyketto is going to be on the Monsters of Rock cruise. So we're going to be on that with you. I can't wait. Tell us a little bit about your excitement and anticipation of that cruise.
Well, I have to admit, we kind of hammered at that door for a little while, and was really, really happy when came through, because it obviously, I mean, it's like the place to be now as far as really any of the American events goes. And I've been watching the lineups and just thinking, how do they fit all those people on one? I know the boats are huge, but between the amount of bands that they're putting on and everything, and I'm looking at the list going, well, why the hell aren't we on that list? So yeah, once we kind of put in a formal request, it was easy, and I don't know if this is a fact, but it seems to me like we're definitely one of the only bands on there this year that has never done it before. So I think there's a little bit of an extra buzz on that. I've been getting emails from people who are coming from Peru, to go on the cruise, and Tyketto is one of the bands they want to see the most, and that's just a great feeling.
Yeah, and I think aside from you and Charm City Devils, I think you are the only two bands that I recognize that weren't on the cruise, and I was super excited to see you on it. Now, so this will be our third one, and I always see it as kind of a reunion of folks. Like, are you looking forward to seeing a lot of old fans? I know your former band member Johnny D is going to be on there with Doro. Like, who are you looking forward to seeing again?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because that's exactly what I would have said. Johnny and I have always stayed in touch. But of course, lately there's been a lot more emails going back and forth. And again, I can't quite remember when's the last time we saw each other, but I'm thinking 10 or 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And that's killing me because, yeah, it's not just that he and I were in a band together. Johnny's one of my favorite people, and he's just one of those people that I've met on this road musically that I hold in the highest regard. So I think that there might even be a tier or two, at least on my end. He's too tough for that sort of thing. It's going to be like high school reunion time. There's quite a few people there that I know, and again, you just kind of encounter them when you do. Anybody from Billy Sheehan, who I've run into several times over the years. I'm trying to think, but there are also a few people that, amazingly enough, I've never met. Like, I've never met. I've never met Cinderella guys. I know Fred Corey a little bit, but like Kip Winger's a friend, and there's just it's going to be kind of like high school. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I doubt I'm going to get to hear everyone that I really want to hear. In fact, I would say that the first, if you want to call it, the first rock star encounter I ever had as a young guy in a band and hoping that someday I could do this for a living was with Steve Whiteman.
Oh, wow.
So he won't remember, but I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to sit down and talk to him about it, because Kix was just it, man. Basically, my best friend signed them to Atlantic Records way back when, and but we were going to see him in clubs and just thinking, God, this is what live music is all about. These guys are just nonstop.
I'm a little spoiled with Kix because I'm a Baltimore native. I grew up in Baltimore, and Kix in Baltimore is different than Kix anywhere else in the world. And I don't even know if you know this, or I don't know if you're aware that Hammerjacks, the club in Baltimore, is actually being rebuilt and coming back.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that. God, I was going to definitely mention that, because talk about legendary. You weren't nobody if you didn't end up with at least one Hammerjacks girl in your career. That's for sure.
Now, you guys have got a whole bunch of festivals coming up, and so that's a big news on your site. But the other thing I want to ask you about, is there a documentary floating around out there somewhere?
Yes, there is. We've been working on this for a year and a half, I would say, and it's mostly been Michael, the drummer, our drummer and manager and all-round cheerleader for the band, makes things happen. I was kind of the band documentarian, if that's a word. When back in the day, when we first signed our record deal, our management gave us a present of a video recording camera. Back then, if you remember, these things, and you walked around with them on your shoulders like you were, from a TV station. They were much things. So, but I filmed a lot of stuff. It was mostly me. Sometimes the other guys would do it as well. And just over the years, I was the collector in the band's history. I've got all the photo albums, just all the memorabilia that has been saved is generally somewhere in a box in my house. And when I moved to Europe, I knew I couldn't bring all them damn VHSs. I had an entire plastic tub full of them. So I just gave them all to Michael. I said, listen, you got a basement, throw them in there. One of these days, when we're old and gray, we'll look through it, we'll have a laugh. And he started looking through it, and he said, did you realize that, we filmed such and such and such from when we were making Don't Come Easy. We actually filmed in the studio. I said, no, I don't remember that. And the more we talked about it, people have been asking for a DVD from Tyketto for a long, long time, mostly a live one. But what we ended up with was something I think far more special, which is we've really got the story of our band stepping out of that late 80s, early 90s East Coast rock scene. And it's a really good story. It's about a band that almost made it. We reached certain levels and never broke into the big leagues, and yet here we are 25 years later, we're still talking about it. People still know some of the songs, so something went right. And Michael put together what I think is a great story that anybody that's either in a band or has a brother or a sister in a band, they're all going to understand this story. They're going to get it. So there's 90 minutes of that. And then we've got a couple of extras of videos of our own, like the Wings video and things like that. And we put together our own little pop-ups on that. And then also a few years back, two years back, we did a live internet broadcast that was like a pay-per-view kind of thing. And so that's on there as well. So it's a full show. Just done in a club in New Jersey. No big stage or anything. Just us playing the music. So I think it's a really good package. It's called Documentally Yours, and with any luck, it'll be available through us, through our own websites and stuff like that, because we're doing it ourselves, and should be on sale within the next 2 weeks, is what I'm hoping.
That's awesome, man. And I hope you can bring a few copies on the cruise, because I know there's some people that would love to not only purchase that, but to get a signed copy from you guys.
We'll see what we can do. The way they, as I'm sure you know, the way they operate the merchandise with the cruise is a lot of the merch has to get there way ahead of time. And we're kind of running up against a schedule issue with getting everything finalized and printed. It's going to come down to the wire. So if we can't, what I think we're going to do is, perhaps hand out flyers and vouchers to people just so they know it's out there, and we can catch up with them online.
Hey, now, one last thing. When we see you play live now, does Tyketto only play Tyketto stuff? Does any of your solo stuff mix in? Do you guys intermingle that stuff, or is it just strictly each band does their own stuff?
With Tyketto, we tend to just keep it to the Tyketto material. I don't think Tyketto's ever done any of my solo stuff. Just seems like a little out of place. We might do a cover or two. It all depends on the set times and all that. But I'm told that originally we were supposed to do one electric and one acoustic set, and now they've changed it and they want 2 electric sets. So that's kind of cool. We might be able to chop and change there.
Hey, well, Danny, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Shout out to my buddy Alan Cook for hooking up this interview, because you're joining me all the way from Europe by the miracle of technology, and I want to thank you for taking time. I don't know what time it is over there now, but yeah, it's got to be a chunk out of your busy day that we really appreciate you spending with us.
Oh, no, man. I mean, it's an absolute pleasure, and it's so nice to know that the word's still cooking out there in the States, because obviously I'm not as connected to that part of the world as I used to be, so I don't know a lot of the people involved in the music that we're doing, and so part of the Monsters of Rock cruise has really kind of rekindled some connections there, and it means a lot to be able to get out there and talk to people that want to hear it,
Hey, well, folks, this has been Danny Vaughn, lead singer of Tyketto. As I said before, many of you remember from the band Wasted, and, of course, his awesome solo stuff, joining us all the way from Europe today. Danny, thanks a lot for being on the show.
My pleasure, K-Rock. Thanks for having me, man.